Welcome to the first podcast of Let's Be Kind with Miss Moien. We are so excited to introduce you to this friendly little llama who you will find across our platforms. Hello everyone, 100,000 welcomes as Irish people say. I imagine you were wondering why a llama is the protagonist of a podcast and why her name is Miss Moien. It's about time we solve this mystery. Why is Miss Moien a llama, you might ask? Well, some people have a wolf as their spirit animal, others a tiger, a bear. Well, my spiritual animal is a llama, as I identify with their qualities. Llamas, for those who are not very familiar with them, are very tender beings, super loving and affectionate, capable of quickly adapting to any environment. Indeed, you can see them and their cousin the alpacas living in Peru or Chile or grazing in Ireland. However, despite their great capacity for adaptation to new environments, they are territorial animals. I mean, if you are not welcome, have you seen maybe their response? They spit. If you haven't, well, they respond by spitting. It's true, huh? And well, why Miss Moien? For listeners from Luxembourg, you will surely know that Moien is the first word we learn when landing in this country. Moien literally means hello in Luxembourgish. And these people are very polite, and every time you meet one of them on the street, they greet you with a bright smile and cheerful Moien! And who doesn't feel like responding? And luckily, this time not spitting. So well, in honor of the good manners of our Luxembourgish neighbors, we decide that our friendly llama will be called Miss Moien. Because in addition to being affectionate and loving, she's super polite llama like our friends. So voila, mystery solved. Now you have a clearer idea of Miss Moien. But who is the voice of Miss Moien, the one behind this podcast? Well, that is me, a Spanish girl who was born a few decades ago on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea and after finishing her bachelor degree went to live abroad. And well, in all this year, just like everyone else, I've experienced many things. From choosing the wrong bachelor degree, because let's be honest, who hasn't felt the pressure of having to get a university degree no matter what in order to be successful in life? And well, given what we've seen of this generation, there will be many graduates with no light skills who cannot change a light bulb in their own home, right? But it's true. We are forced to make big decisions at a tender young age. And of course, if you're the first in your family to go to the university, trust me, the pressure is immense. I really wanted to be a National Geographic photographer or a war journalist. But imagine for a moment my dear mother's face. Can you picture her? Funnily enough, I never gave up of being a photographer, and I'm still taking photographs of nature and urban life. Unfortunately, I'm not a journalist for Fox News. Anyway, let's get down to business and the crux of the matter. I don't know if you know what agoraphobia is, but I had it for almost all my university life, and I have to confess that it's not something that I would want it to accompany me during my studies, to be honest. But that's life. There are things that come without being chosen, c'est la vie, as the French say. I digress for those who don't know what agoraphobia is. And I will quickly tell you that agoraphobia is a type of anxiety disorder that involves having intense fear and anxiety when in places that are difficult to escape from or being rescued will not be easy. And as a symptom of my anxiety, I developed a fear of eating because I was afraid that I may choke. Fortunately, that choking phobia only lasted a few months, but the anxiety stuck with me, and without really knowing the reason, I developed a terrible fear of flying. And of course, imagine cheap flights were booming with Ryanair, and people became to travel more and more. Everybody around me had good intention with offering me advice and trying to help me. I was almost forced to do a shock therapy by getting on a plane because the ticket had been already booked without me knowing anything about it. When I say forced, it wasn't like someone put a gun against my head, but it's true that I did feel the pressure of doing something that I wasn't ready to do. You know the saying of, until you decide for yourself, you don't change? Absolutely right. However, a few years later, something in my mind clicked with me, and I got on a plane to Ireland. And you know, Ireland is an island, right? Surrounded by the sea. And llamas can adapt to everything, well, almost everything. We still don't know how to swim. So the only option going and coming from Ireland was by flying. And I will proudly tell you that in all the time I live in Ireland, I took more than 100 flights. But I will confess that I still haven't overcome my fear of flying. Let's say I've learned to live with it. Even today, many people still tell me, "Oh girl, you are not afraid of flying anymore, you have already overcome it." And I feel like telling them, "Sure, tell that to my husband, poor him, who says that every time he travels with me is like he's traveling alone." And he's absolutely right, because let me explain. Although now I am able to get on a flight, I have had to accept that that fear will always be there, and it will always travel in the seat next to me. And the only thing that makes that moment more bearable is my flying ritual that I have been preparing for myself over the years. Which, well, let's say it doesn't make me the most talkative person at that moment, because I need to be focused on not making a scene and wanting to escape. I'm telling you the truth. Well, anyway, if any of you have a fear of flying like me and are interested, I will be happy to share some tricks to overcome your fear. Now, just to clarify, I'm no longer living in Ireland. How you may have guessed, I'm living in Luxembourg. And I promise you that it's not like Switzerland. We don't only have cows and financial institutions, we also have wine. And the wine, oh my god! Seriously, Luxembourgers have nailed it. And if it weren't for the fact that the sky is quite great, it could be paradise. But as my mother says, you cannot live on fresh air. So well, we don't have much sun, but there is plenty of work, nature, and well, vitamin D pills for lack of sun. So I would say that in general, it's a pretty good life. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now even Wikipedia could summarize my life and you have gotten to know me quite well, I would like to talk to you about this project, since it has been created with a lot of love. So well, you might ask, what is the Let's Be Kind project about? In short, it's a project that aims to highlight the importance of good mental health. Personally, I believe that mental health is closely linked to our environment, specifically the kindness we receive from it, as well as the respect and self-care we practice. That's why I decided to dedicate this space to discussing kindness and mental health. The truth is, my idea isn't to address mental health based on scientific studies which we all have access to, or on a statistic that we often forget, no. What I want is to touch your heart in a way that sparks recognition, enable you to see mental health in everyday situations. I want to share the story of Laura, a Spanish woman who emigrated to Luxembourg 16 years ago and established her own drama school. And it hasn't all been smooth sailing, because starting a business is challenging enough. Imagine doing in a new country starting from scratch. We will talk with her about this and many other topics, including mental health, since her drama classes have helped and continue to help many people here in Luxembourg. I also want you to meet Alessandro Tripaldelli, a body football player. At the age of 14, he left his family environment to pursue his dream of becoming a professional footballer. He always had his family's support, but of course, many times that support had to come from a distance. And being so young, there were things that could have slipped through the cracks, an important decision to make for which, who knows, he might not have been fully prepared. So we will talk to him and he will tell us about his challenges and fears, and how he's been facing them since he was very young. If you don't know Alessandro, I can tell you in advance that you will love meeting him. You will forgive me, but he's not the typical football player. While his physical appearance might suggest otherwise, he's an admirable lad, who loves to read, is tender with his daughter and wife, and well, adores his grandmother. So I will be delighted to introduce him to you, and he will tell us firsthand what it's like to live with the pressure of always having to be the best in the sports world. You will also meet my retired friends, Ana and Marta. Ana is from Spain and Marta is from Cuba, and they've lived in Luxembourg for 20 years. Ana worked for the Spanish embassy, and Marta came to meet her first grandchild and stayed. Both of them faced the challenge of adapting to a new country and culture at a time when leaving their homeland was not as common as it's now, and at an age when, in Anna's case, backpacking with children was perhaps less amusing and certainly quite a challenge. Although they still live here in Luxembourg with no plans to return to their countries of origin, we will talk to them and they will tell us about their adaptation and how they manage so many changes so quickly. And of course, we'll be featuring Luxembourgers in upcoming podcasts. They witness how Luxembourg has transformed over the years, and we're really keen to hear their perspectives. Like, do Luxembourgers actually feel like they are living alongside expats? What are we expats doing to integrate? We are going to explore what the adaptation process is like when you have so many cultures living together in one country. We want to find out how Luxembourgers experience this influx of expats and how we as foreigners who've chosen to live here feel in this small city. Because think about it, how would you feel trying to adapt to a place where you are not welcome? Now, imagine being welcomed somewhere where people are actually curious about you and want you to be part of things. So how important is our environment for our adaptation? See what I mean now when I keep going about kindness? Do you get the connection between mental health and kindness? I hope so, and don't worry even if you are following us from another country. I'm sure wherever you are either a local or an expat, and you will be able to apply everything we talk about to your own life. Because there's a universal language for everyone, and that's kindness. And like you can see, it doesn't matter what you do for a living. Whether you are a top athlete, self-employed, work in a bar, or teach ballet, we all go through stuff that can sometimes throw us off balance. But the key thing is knowing how to get back to our center, and most importantly, not letting anyone come into our life and mess with our peace. That's why you will hear me talk a lot about boundaries, a word I absolutely love. Imagine boundaries like that imaginary sacred circle you draw around yourself where you decide who gets in and who doesn't, like the llamas, remember? So yeah, you will hear me talk a lot about boundaries and how to protect ourselves from those people who sometimes, even without meaning to, take advantage of our kindness. So with Let's Be Kind, we are building a community to help us understand ourselves better and talk about certain topics openly, without any taboos. Because sometimes you think your history is the only one that's tragic and painful just because you haven't shared it. But the truth is, a lot of us have gone through the same stuff and we are just too ashamed to talk about it, afraid of being judged. So here, we are going to normalize things like anxiety, burnout, bullying, mobbing, and more. And we'll also be talking with experts and families about other mental health conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, bipolar disorder, or schizophrenia. We'll be doing this mainly through people's stories, which will help us understand ourselves better and be more understanding towards ourselves and others to avoid making snap judgments. We are going to give a voice to people just like you listening, people who might have had their mental health take a hit at some point. And sometimes it's thanks to the kindness of the people around them that they've managed to get through it, but other times it's the lack of kindness and empathy that made things a lot tougher. That's why, honestly, I'm never going to stop saying that you need to surround yourself with a kind environment, people who love you, value you, and truly respect you. And of course, you also have that mission to make someone's environment better and kinder. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this little chat and I'll see you in the next episode. I send you a big llama hug.